and we're actually going to talk about your new equipment launch. Did you put yourself up for the Athletes Commission?
Also, yeah, and I can be even more honest. It's great.
Absolutely. More importantly, I noticed that you said hi to every single little kid in that hall, in and out. I noticed that, and I think, exactly, you can't really see.
Because it's so much up here, but like this.
Would you have it at the back? For me, it catches the net.
Actually, it would, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not possible, guys. Never mind.
The little one, just literally mouth open, watching you guys.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh my God. So we're confirmed, average, not average, right?
Yeah, average, not average.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay, so in that case, then I'll start with the intro. Hi everyone, welcome to the Average Not Average podcast. I'm CK, the Average.
I'm Viktor, the not average.
Today we are in episode 1 of this podcast, and we're actually going to talk about your new equipment launch.
We are very excited for it. Right off the gate, I want to say that it's you who came up with the name. It's not me who want to call myself the not average. Yep. But with that being said, I think it's a very cool name, and I'm very excited to start this format. I think it's nice to finally have a platform where we can have a longer conversation, and to do the first episode where we can talk about my product launches. Obviously great. So thank you for being here, CK and Romain, who are doing make sure all the cameras in the back are working. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me personally, it's my second time in Copenhagen. So for whoever that's watching this, I'm in a mismatch of clothing. My luggage did not arrive, so Philip had to save me with some extra clothing here. But let's talk about the clothing behind you immediately. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's happening?
Yeah. What's happening is that together with Yonex, obviously my equipment sponsor, we're coming out with my own collection, like big project. We're gonna have everything from obviously my racket, as you see in the background, bag, clothing, kids clothing, rackets and stuff like that. So it's the whole thing, and it's something which have been in the works for years almost, actually.
Years?
Yeah, the first conversations was almost a few years ago, so it's been a long time coming, but now we're finally ready to get it out there, and it's a big dream coming true. I still remember getting my first Yonex contract, which was a big thing for me, and now to have my own collection, the VA collection within Yonex is something I'm very excited for.
Okay, so I want to dig a bit deeper. So when you said this process has taken years to come by, and so who started it first, or who said, Victor, let's make did Yonex come to you and say, let's make a collection now, or you went to Yonex and said, I would like to have one?
It has been a little bit of both. Obviously as a badminton player, you have a contract for a certain amount of years, and then you start again to talk about making the new contract and stuff like that. And for now I have a contract with Yonex for the next years coming, and after the Tokyo Olympics, we have the first talk about in the future, maybe doing something like this. And then now here post the Paris Olympics, we're finally ready. And
5 years.
Yeah, it's 5 years ago we had the first talk about, like I said, this would be something which would be amazing for me to have.
Yeah.
They've done it with Lindan as well. And I thought, that this would be a good opportunity for both of us as well. So we had a lot of conversation about this. Obviously, it's a big thing because, first of all, it needs to fit within Yonex strategy. Secondly, the contract, that we have time to actually do it. And it should be at the right time. And now was the perfect timing for it to come into reality. And also just in regards to the design, the products, everything, it's a lot of hard work.
Okay. Obviously, we want to dive a lot deeper into the business side of badminton in episodes that we record. But obviously from today, you said this project took you 5 years. So how high does it have to go within Yonex? Or how high does it have to go within a brand? And obviously you have your own management team as well. How often do you guys meet or, to discuss these little things?
Like, obviously we didn't start the actual process 5 years ago, but we had the first talk about where I, said, is it possible that we can work on this? there's a lot of things which have to, work in order for this to come into reality. Like first of all, in terms, there's like negotiations going on. Like, how should this fit into the contract you have? Some players, maybe have it already within the contract. For my case, it was something which we needed to add on within the contract and stuff like that.
Okay.
So that's how it sort of works for me.
Yep.
And second of all, it's also something where, the design, also because, especially with a brand like Yonex, who is at the top, in regards to the models of the rackets and stuff like that, they obviously have a strategy like for the years to come as well.
Yep.
So for my line to fit in there, it's something which they need to have a lot of initial talks about.
So the designs that we see here, can you explain to the listeners or viewers who are actually listening? So let's start with your racket. So
Yes.
rackets. So here I can see white colored racket. So obviously it's an Astrox 100 ZZ.
It is. It's Astrox 100 ZZ, and it's a racket I've been using for many years. I started with the blue one, then the Kurunai color came before the Tokyo Olympics, and now we have my own VA racket here, still the 100 ZZ. I wanted to have I think a white racket looks great, but also we wanted to have in a little bit of color, and we wanted to make it a little bit special. That's why for the viewers out there, we have down in the right or left corner, as you look at it, we have some purple where the Astrox ZZ with the VA logo is, and then we have the green on the other side, which is blending in within the racket, like almost the same design as the other Astrox 100. And then we have my my autograph and my initials down, close to the grip. And I think the design turned out very nice. It blends and fits my outfit great. Yep. And the first drop here is with the green, the shiny green, I was about to say. Yep. And I think it's gonna be looking visually very cool and court, and definitely pops a lot.
So I have two questions here. So obviously you have the VA logo. So the VA logo has been present for a few years now.
Yes.
Who designed it?
It was one of my personal designers. My dad is my manager, as you already know, and we found a designer who came up with all kinds of examples on how my own brand could look, and then we went for this one, and we have been using this for many years now.
Yes.
So and I think it looks great, and it's a logo I'm very proud of.
Yep. And then obviously we can see green, so there's a lot of green all around your design. Different shades of green though.
Yes.
So how would you describe this green? I'm guessing green is your favorite color?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite colors, like lime green sort of, and very bright green, especially the clothing as you see here in the back.
Yep.
It will fit great with the racket. And then we also have a gray shirt, also with the green blended in. The green sort of goes through the entire product. My shoes as well will have green in it, green sole. And I think, when you step on court, you will really have this wow effect. You will have the shiny green and which blends in with the shoes and the racket as well. So overall, I'm very excited for the first drop. And this is just the first one. So there are many more in the works with different colorways. So it's gonna be pretty, I don't want to swear, but it's going to be pretty badass. So.
Okay, so obviously we're filming this as we speak 2 weeks ahead of German Open. So for the first time today, I actually saw your shoes.
Yes.
Obviously, I've seen pictures of your shoes previously.
Yes.
I think if you're a hard-working badminton nerd like me, you will actually go online and actually look for these things. And so I've actually seen some of the pictures. But your shoes today looked so much better than those pictures that were floating online. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, also when I saw, obviously as I say, this has been a long time coming, and I've seen the examples of the shoes here and there, and we have made a few changes. And the one you see on the pictures and stuff like that, which are floating around now, when you see it in real life, same with the racket and the shirts, it looks just so much better in real life. And the shoes is actually, together with the racket, my favorite two items from the first launch here, together with the bags. I think the brownish, whitish, it's sort of color, we took a little bit of inspiration from the anniversary shoe, which was like sort of
65ZC90.
Exactly, which was just like the brownish color. I wanted to have a little bit similar, but still not all the way there, because it had to fit well with the green color. The sole is green, and we have my green logo in the back on the heel, and the result is amazing. Obviously, I have to be happy about the products in order for me to, but it was very, very important for me, especially with the first launch here, that I could see myself wearing it and that I feel comfortable in it. Again, I'm also back in the tank top as well, so I've been practicing more biceps.
Showing the guns.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I think it will be great to step on court firstly for the German Open, and then of course All England as the big Super 1000 coming up.
So how many rounds of designs did you guys have to go through, like your team and Yonex team? How many rounds of designs you have to go through to get to this stage right now?
I think the first, in regards to the quality of the shirt and which kind of fabric we were about to use and stuff.
Which kind of fabric?
Yeah, like that. I saw the first examples back at the Kumamoto Masters last year.
Okay.
And then, in regards to design, it started around there. So that was the first time I actually saw what are we planning to do. Actually, a little bit before then. And then there has been 2-3 times, where we had to change a little bit.
And obviously, like the jumper that you're wearing now. Yeah, that is also a play on your logo as well, right? So
yeah, exactly. It is like we didn't want it to be too much in your face, but we also wanted some off court, and I love this color here. Lifestyle kind of clothing.
Yep.
We have the tracksuits as well. We have this jumper here, and we have some polos also. So I wanted something which I could travel around in, I could wear, outside the court when I'm having breakfast, and even just for daily living. And I'm very happy about the results of that as well. The cap I'm wearing right now, for those who are not also watching the video right now, I have a white cap on with the green and the VA logo in the back. So, yeah.
It's a baseball cap, but then it looks super comfortable, and you can use it golf, tennis, badminton,
everything,
lifestyle.
Yes. I was actually talking with a friend here the other day, like the tennis players, they're playing with caps, right? Could we do that in badminton? Really?
I guess.
We've never seen anyone, so if anybody wants to, play a tournament with the VA cap, just hit us up and I'll send you a VA cap for you to try playing with. And if it works, why not? Maybe I should try it.
Yeah, would you be the first one to actually try and actually make that happen?
That would definitely, be something which people talked about. I don't know really in terms of aerodynamics.
Oh yeah.
Regulations, there probably shouldn't be any issue with it, because on the headbands you have the Yonex logos here. Maybe you need to remove one logo though, because
you can only have one.
I don't know but in reality, right? The tennis players, they play with caps.
Yep. Maybe it's something to explore.
What do you think?
If you do it once.
What is your honest reactions to that?
I think if for me personally, if you have the flap.
No, that would be a bit. Yeah, I wouldn't do that because you can't.
Exactly, you can't really see.
Because it's so much up here. But like this.
Would you have it at the back? Would it catch your neck? For me, it catches the net.
Actually, it would, yeah. Maybe. Okay, it's not possible, guys. Never mind.
We've messed up for this one. Lifestyle only, or tennis?
Yeah,
or golf.
It's only lifestyle.
Or you can make the flap shorter.
Yeah. It's not gonna work. Then it's gonna look like a biking cap. The small one, biking one. But that could work. I'll call Yonex after this, and
we're gonna make an adjustment. So product round 2, maybe future rounds.
Perfect. We're gonna start playing with caps now, guys.
Okay. So in that case, I want to move on to the business side of this thing. So obviously, you having your own series with Yonex now. So obviously, that also is a business move, and you're actually quite a big brand within the badminton world itself, right? So Viktor Axelsen is associated with your sponsors and so on. Yonex being one of your major sponsors. And you said that your dad was your manager and agent.
Yes.
So what role does he actually play in the whole Viktor Axelsen ecosystem in also getting this with Yonex onto market?
Well, he plays a huge role. To be honest, I don't praise my dad often, but I think he has been one of the reasons why badminton players are able to make an even better living now. Obviously, there has been big movers within the sport, like Lee Chong-Wen, Lin Dan comes to mind, right? But within Europe, we have been able to, get really good contracts, like way better than, obviously the results are really important, but my dad has really been able to sell Viktor, me as an actual brand, because as a sports person you have to see yourself as a business. And my dad has been very, very good at making the brands understand the actual value of Viktor as a badminton player and the brand. Because as a player you need to invest a lot into your own brand. You are a business as an athlete, and if you're just playing on court and you're not visible outside the court and you're not making moves in order for your brand value to be higher and higher, then it's very hard to get the good contracts. So we've invested a lot of money into my own brand from an early age, and that's also why I have the contracts I have now.
So can you tell us three things, actually? So three things from the decades of work that you and your dad have done, right?
Yeah.
What are the three most important things that literally comes to your mind? This made an impact right now in 2025 for Viktor Axelsen.
I think, firstly, very early on, we came up with the logo I have. We made, souvenirs like the small mini shirts we made. Yep. People were always asking for my shirts, and obviously I couldn't hand out my shirts all the time. So we make like small VA mini shirts, which was a great idea, was my dad's idea. We produced all that by ourselves, the off-court VA shirts we produced very early on. Also, for me myself, I learned Mandarin in my start 20s as well, which was something which had a huge impact on my brand value. So
was it something you discussed with your dad to say, Dad, I'm going to start learning Mandarin because China has the biggest market currently?
It was something we had talked about, but actually I have to give credit also to my former coach, Kim, who, because I was trying to go through high school while playing competitively, but I was way too focused on badminton that I had to drop out. And but I still wanted to use my head besides badminton. And I was saying, I was thinking to myself, what are the actual moves I can do in order to become the best brand possible as a badminton player? Okay. Obviously Mandarin came to mind, and I sort of forgot. I thought it was too hard to do. And then I was back in Odense, I had a meeting with Kim, and he said, why don't you start to learn Mandarin? And that was basically the push I needed. So I found my own private teacher. I started, meeting with her in the mornings before practice in Copenhagen, 7 a.m. in the morning or between practices, every day in the start. Okay. After that, when I started traveling more, I got into a cooperation with I bought classes through a school in Beijing who provided online learning. Okay. And that's basically how it started. And now the teacher I had from that school is actually taking care of my social media in China. Nice. So and still having classes there. So it has been. That was one of the big moves as well. Okay, so now you've got two. So your logo, your online presence, and then learning Mandarin. Yeah. Third one? Yeah, the third one would probably be to take initiative to reach out to brands who haven't been thinking about badminton. Doing, for example, events, making before, for example, Denmark Open, All England, and stuff like that. We have, done our own initiatives where, for example, for Denmark Open, we have invited a lot of Danish businesses and a lot of people from, the business world in Denmark into like a big event where I come speak a little bit, talk about my match beforehand, all that kind of things in order to give your partners and your fans like a different experience. Or potential partners. Exactly, or potential partners. Yeah. Like for me and all my sponsors I have now, it's not just sponsors. Like they are part of. We are one big family. Yeah. We can text each other on WhatsApp. We can, we have a very, very close relationship. And that's what I want when I go into a cooperation. I go 120% into it. And that's also why we have been very focused on getting the right partners and not just say yes, yes, yes to everything. Because small partners, like smaller partners, they require just as much work as big partners. Yep. So we have been very selective in who we work with, and also which kind of people we work with. We want them to be, someone who we really, resonate with and who we have a strong connection with. So that has been the most important thing for us, to actually learn how to say no, and wait for the right partners.
Okay. So obviously, before our conversations here, I had to do some research, a little bit more digging on who Viktor Axelsson actually is.
Yeah.
And then so I realized you have a website. Not many, if any, badminton players have a website.
Yeah, we actually, the new one just launched now. Actually, the English version should be up maybe now as well.
It is up.
Yeah, so even though there's a lot of social media nowadays, but you need also to have a website like for when players search for you on Google and stuff like that. There needs to be like where you can find the sponsors and all that kind of thing, the calendar.
If there's one feedback that I can give, actually, your website was quite hard to search because it is .dk.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what we're working on now to get the...
The .com hasn't been bought yet. You need to buy that.
Yeah, don't buy it. Yeah,
guys, leave it to Viktor. It's his name after all.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that's a good idea. I'll actually make sure afterwards that we have that.
Yeah, and because currently, because you don't have the .com, it doesn't show up on the first page for any English-speaking search engine. Yeah. So
I'll make sure that we look into that. Perfect.
Okay, so you've got the 3. Again, I want to keep on your dad being a manager. So how often do you both talk about these things? Like, so for example, like is it like a 24/7 thing? Does he have an open door? Does he work for you full time or work with you full time, or is that the only thing he does?
It's the only thing he does.
Okay.
Back in the day, he had his own company together with his brother. But now, since 2011-12, he has been full time.
Okay.
And we talk about this on a daily basis. Okay. But we're very good at switching in and out of business and family kind of thing. That you have to be very good at because many people, they always say, oh, you can never work with family and friends and stuff like that. But actually, for me, it's the best kind of work relationship you can have. I know that my dad would never say yes and push me to do a lot of stuff just to earn more money. Because first of all, he's my dad, right?
Yeah.
So it has been a perfect balance for us between being a dad-son relationship and manager-athlete. So it can be a phone call where we talk business for the first 5 minutes. Then we talk about family and stuff, and then we go back and forth all the time. And we make sure that when I'm back home in Odense, that we don't just talk business around the dinner table
all the time.
That we have a certain balance when it comes to that.
Have you ever clashed with him? Have you ever clashed with him significantly, and then had a falling out for temporarily, and then
several times. I think that's impossible to avoid. Sometimes he has his views, I have my views. He has a lot of experience. Maybe sometimes I want to do a little bit, a lot of stuff, and sometimes there are, how can you say, things where he might have a different view, or that's totally okay. But luckily, we are very good at just getting over that and getting on to the next.
Can you give us an example of what not to do as a badminton athlete, as a badminton brand? What will you not do?
I would probably not go into find partners, which is not something you want to stand for, because right when you go out and you make it public and you work together with these partners, like this will always be
with you. And
then secondly of all, some players have been trying to, or athletes in general have been trying to put on this. An example can be to be like the bad boy kind of thing, or maybe try to put on a sort of another hat when they are the athlete and when they go on court than what they actually are as a person.
Okay.
And I think for me as an athlete, the one thing which makes it very easy for me to be an athlete and do these kind of things and be on social media is that it's just Viktor. I'm not trying to be another version of myself just because I'm the badminton player right now.
Yep.
I'm just the same guy. So I think it's very important for athletes, and especially badminton athletes, be true to themselves and don't be scared to be out there.
As in on social media, online, just to show yourself.
Show yourself. Don't be, try to what do you want to do on social media? How do you want to do it? But to post and to actually be there, and don't be afraid of what other people thinks about you.
Yep.
You will find your strong fan base, and people will actually, they will be happy that you're just posting. Yeah.
I mean, it just literally hit me, but then that actually makes a lot of sense because, for example, me, It's because I started posting on social media, and a few years down the line, here we are sitting together, and you've noticed the stuff that I've made, and then we see each other at tournaments.
Yeah, exactly.
And that all literally started because we're all posting on social media.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of good things coming out of social media as well, and I think there's always things moving, new things coming up, and it can be easy to be, distracted a lot. So you have to find your own balance. Obviously, performing on court is the most important thing. For me, being where I am now, I know what works and what doesn't work. I know what I can do and can't do in order to still perform on court. So, yeah, and it's something which I think, for me, I would love to, when I'm done playing, help other athletes and players, trying to find this balance, like sort of not maybe a consultant kind of thing, but help them to find their place where they feel comfortable being an athlete and being themselves, and have a good life outside the court with all the pressure that comes with it.
Yeah, because so for me, in my unique position within badminton, where I obviously as a media person, media business right now at the moment, but because I'm a true fan of the sport, right? That's what got me into badminton, right? And because of the work that I do now, I have access to a lot of the information as a player, and also as a casual fan or as a diehard nerd, and inside the stakeholders as well. It feels like if you're outside the top 20, 25, it's quite difficult to make a living.
Definitely.
Exclusively as a player.
Yeah, it is. With what I think badminton is hugely underrated when it comes to, the sport is very big. If we actually had the viewership numbers of the biggest tournaments, at the Olympics, we talked about badminton being like on the global stage, one of the most viewed, like the finals of the Olympics, one of the most viewed, actual, how can you say, programs or sports during the Olympics, right? And
300 million people play it regularly.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like there are so many players, right?
Yep.
And there's so many things which are, which have to not change, but we have to make it make people understand. Also from a business kind of things. The whole thing I have with the sport and how we're moving in one direction and stuff like that, we have to see badminton also as how can we keep improving, and because now you see sports like paddle tennis, pickleball, they're growing so fast because they also have a lot of business people inside the actual, on the top positions within the sport. And I think, we have done a great job with badminton, we're growing a lot, but we could do better also, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping to keep this conversation onto another episode, but actually, we're gonna literally we'll dive in right now.
Okay.
We'll dive in right now. From your perspective as a brand owner, as a brand itself within badminton, and also understanding the tournament structure, BWF's financial business models, what can we do more immediately on the top of your head as a sport to become better, like to get closer to say the levels of Formula 1, NBA, NFL, football?
Yeah.
What can we do?
The big problem, as I see it right now, is that the distance between the players and BWF is way too far, and that is because of the federations, which is not only a bad thing. Like many players are very reliant on the federations, and I have also, if I wasn't on the federation, I've had a lot of opportunities within the federation and stuff like that. Yeah. But from a business and a sport kind of view, the way it works right now with the federations and the BWF voting them into the IC as an entity and stuff like that, and now the sport is growing where you see a lot of, for me, for example, I'm an independent player. You have more and more independent players coming out now, and we still have to go through the federations. Our prize money goes through the federations. It's just a very outdated kind of way of running things, in my point of view.
A lot of red tape.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think the players, we have the Athletes Commission, but with all due respect, we have no say in what's being done within the sport. Okay. We have so few votes.
Who is on the Athlete Commission? Are they voted in?
They're voted in by the players. I think now we have Grisha Poli and Robin Tabeling.
Yes.
I don't know who the others are, but they're doing what they can. Like I know Robin is putting in a lot of work and actually want to do a lot, but it's very hard because we have such a small say within the big picture. And when you look at sports like tennis with the ATP and WTA, they have a big say in how things are getting run. I'm not saying that we're going to go full that direction, but if we had a little bit of that where we actually had a say in what's happening, I think that would be great for the sport. But I also realize that the sport is working in a whole other way, like BWF in its entirety, it's just very, very complicated.
Yeah. So for me, from my perspective, as a fan looking in, and as a fan who's worked with BWF on several projects, and also outside with commercial brands and or tournaments, I see BWF. It's quite hard. It's quite a difficult position that they're in.
Definitely, I also acknowledge that for sure.
They're a policy body, they're a regulatory body, but at the same time wanting to do business.
Yeah.
And with policy and regulation, they need to be really rigid and very strict with laws and regulation. But within the business world, you need a lot of flexibility, and sometimes it's conflict.
Exactly.
And it's quite hard to actually make that happen. For me, I think they need to have two arms of that side. Like, say, again, Formula One, you have FIA, regulatory body,
yes,
policymakers, and then you have FOM, which is the business arm of it, the full marketing body, full side. And which is kind of similar to the tennis model as well. I think they come business first, and then policy.
But that's for us to grow and for us to be competitive on the global stage within all kinds of different sports. I think, as you say there, I think that would be a logical step for the sport to do, because sport is business now. Like, sport is such a huge business and I know we shouldn't just be talking about money and business, but that's just how the world works. If you want to be bigger, and we want the players to actually not just we want to have big stars within the sport. The next generations, I really hope that the next generation will have way more opportunities that I had and we had, and if they earn more money than we did, great. I just want what's best for the sport, and something has to change. But for me, I've been very vocal about if there's something which I'm unhappy with, and actually I wholeheartedly believe that BWF is doing what they can. But there's just some things which needs to change, and for that, I think personally that they need to be more proactive when it comes to that, with the change and how the world of sports are developing. That's just my personal opinion. And the good thing is for me is that I can just talk.
You can be honest about it.
I can be totally honest. I'm not controlled. Sorry, but I'm not controlled by federation or whatever. I can be very honest, and I think that's my responsibility as well as an independent player to do that.
True. I think also having the right platforms to actually say that in a very neutral way, because I think getting your points across is actually quite important. So did you put yourself up for the Athletes Commission?
No, simply because the Athletes I'm sorry again, but I gotta be honest. The Athletes Commission is so irrelevant at this point, and it's not I believe that the players who are in there, they want to be there because they want to make a change and stuff. Probably, but when you have one or two, I'm not into that, but you have one or two votes out of 50 something, literally, we have nothing to say. It's the federations who run the show together with BWF. So it has to be, we have, as you say, to really have a business arm and have the BWF,
the regulatory policy arm.
Exactly. I think that would be the way to go. But in order for that to happen, I hope it will be within my active playing career, but most likely it's going to be pretty hard. But something needs to happen, because just the small facts that the prize money goes from the organizers to BWF, from BWF to the federation, from the federation to us. If you look at tennis, it goes directly from the ATP or whatever who gets the prize money. They have it within the next week or 2 weeks. Now they make a regulation where the BWF, where you have it within a few weeks, which is great, but still it goes through way too many middlemen in my, and also if I need to talk with BWF, if I'm unhappy with something, I need to go through the federation, and then the federation need to, for example, if I get a fine for yellow card, it goes through the federation again
before it comes to you.
And I'm an independent player. I'm not a part of the federation. So there's just, with all the changes that are happening around the world right now, also in the world of badminton, I believe that there needs to be a change.
Modernization of the processes.
Yeah, that's just my honest opinion.
But I think I can understand why it started as a federation model, because I guess you have 200 members instead of 200,000 members, right?
Exactly.
Because I think the resource in managing those 200,000 members would be very different to 200 members. And I think, maybe.
But the problem is within those federations, the players from a brand and from a value perspective, and that's also where the contracts come into. It's very hard because, for example, there is in the Korean federation, right, with An Se-young, like An Se-young, with all due respect, she's a way bigger brand than 95% of the other players within the Korean federation. If her contracts are managed under the federation and she knows that she's worth way more, there will be issues there. There's always issues there. This is just like you saw Lee Si-ja as well under the Malaysian federation. He figured out that his value is actually bigger when they're paying him. So the sport is growing in a direction where it's so big, and the federations are still, and the regulations are still like it was when I was a kid.
And again, it goes back to the same thing. Federations are regulatory and policy body makers, and so hence they have to be rigid. It's actually their purpose to be rigid, but businesses needs flexibility.
Exactly.
They need to find a balance and a medium to make it flexible.
But if you look right now with the last 10 years where there's been the biggest disagreements between the players, the federations and stuff like that, it's because of the business, which needs to be there in order for players to make it happen. Make it happen and make it great living. Yep. Now we have a chance to actually not only just make it, like you can
live it.
You can live it. You
can
real. Put money to the side, and you can be an athlete like everybody's dreaming of becoming. You can earn good money. You can invest your money. You can whatever, and that should be a good thing.
Yep.
I don't want to fight with any federation or any BWF, but I also don't want to look back at a career where I was like, oh yeah, I had many opportunities, but I didn't do it because I was afraid of what the federation would say.
Yep. True.
And many players under that, they don't have the power or the possibility to actually go after what they want, and the possibilities there actually is out there. And that's a huge shame for the sport and for the players especially.
Yeah, because I think you've literally just said, my brain's actually going at 200 miles an hour because of the stuff that you just mentioned. So how do you think, what's the way forward?
The way forward is that the BWF, the players like BWF, that they realize that we need to make a huge change here, and we need to make something in order for, in order that we don't have any huge, whatever thing happening in the future where the players are hugely unhappy and BWF is trying to lock it down, and there will be like...
Is there a scenario where you see players boycotting tournaments in the future if it gets too bad?
That's something where there's a lot of talks about, if you're unhappy with it, why don't you gather the best players and do this and this and this? And that's, that's not what we want as players. We want, is my opinion, I can only talk for myself, but we just want to have an open talk with the with BWF, how, the sport is growing a lot. How can we do some changes here where we try to work together? And as you say, if it means like making another, the business leg
business arm,
that would be great. But right now there is absolutely no conversation between BWF and the players. So maybe this is the last solution in the future to do that. But for me right now, I'm focusing on obviously my career and everything that's happening for me. But I can't rule out that this is something that would maybe happen in the future. Potentially. Because what we talked about, there are so many opportunities within the sport, and the players should earn way more overall, like compared to what we do now. And
then I think so rolling back a little bit about what we talked about, like badminton being played by so many people around the world. What I think a lot of the major sports have done really, really well. Obviously, a lot of richer sports are from the West, but a lot of them have also been long-standing. Like say football, it's global. But then, like say Formula One, it's mainly in the West that's incredibly well off, that's rich. NBA, NFL, they're all North American sports. There's a common theme going on here because they speak English, because I guess Western world traditionally is more wealthy, so they have a lot more money to spend on sports. But Asia is also becoming this way now, and you're a prime example of you've gone and learned Mandarin in your early 20s.
Yes.
And because you see that provides you with value, and that provides you financial value and also emotional value. But badminton, from my perspective as a content creator, if I speak a single language, I cannot reach 90. If I speak English, I probably only reach 30% of the actual badminton.
Yeah, exactly.
audience.
Yeah.
And badminton is, like you said, is an underrated sport where it's really technical. It's incredibly technical. The shuttle flies so fast, but it's so tiny.
Yes.
It's quite hard to show well on screens.
Yeah, it is.
Like if you have the top-down view, the traditional camera view, you don't get excited seeing that.
No.
Because
exactly.
you don't see the speed. But if you go to a live event, a professional event like where you guys play, Jesus Christ, the speed that you guys move.
Yeah.
So there's a disconnect. A, the language, how to access the crowds, and also not just your distance to BWF.
Yeah.
Players' distance to fans I find it quite huge. The gap is quite big.
Yeah, it is for sure. Like I think players, now with social media and stuff like that, players are trying to do what they can, especially on Instagram and stuff like that. But as a badminton player now, you need to be, especially on the Chinese social media as well.
Yep.
You need to have your presence there as well.
Yep.
And if that means that you have to translate your videos or whatever, or just make an account there if you can, and then write the Chinese captions of the trend. You need to know where the actual core audience is, as you say,
Yep.
and that's your job as a player to know that.
Yep.
The problem is that many players, they're not educated in doing this, you
Yep.
know. And I see that in the future as well, where the players are investing more into the presence online in the
Yep.
different parts of the world,
Yep.
which is a challenge, because the Chinese social media is harder to get access there than Instagram, Facebook, etc.
Yep.
But it's just a good move to be on there as well.
Yeah, but I can see the incredible demand for Chinese fans to get closer to their fans, to get closer to the players that they like and stuff like that. Because I recently had the opportunity to run a media workshop, media training session for Badminton England's elite squad, and you've just literally nailed it on the head. Like, players need to take initiative to really put down the work. Like you've done it since what, 16?
Probably, yeah, 16, 17 years old.
And you're 30, 31 now,
Yeah.
so you've done it for almost 15 years now.
Yeah, I remember making my Facebook page after I won the World Junior Championships back in 2015-16, and people like from my local community was like, "You're making a fan page for yourself. That's a little bit arrogant." No, but I knew that you have to, if you want to be a big brand, then you have to invest in your own brand, and you have to do what you can. And sometimes you maybe take the mouth too full and you try to do too many media stuff and stuff, and that's okay. You'll figure out your way, but at least you need to do something, and you need to be proactive in this space.
Okay. We need to pause for a little bit. One camera died.
Yeah. Great.
We had to have like a little interval.
Yes.
We had to have an interval. One of the cameras overheated.
Advertisement break for for all the partners we don't have yet.
Yeah. This podcast is sponsored by.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so we're back. We were talking about you, 16, 17-year-old, creating your own Facebook page.
Yes.
Facebook fan page. You created it because you saw the business side of things in the future, and then. But did you talk about this with your dad? So we talked about your dad earlier on.
Yeah, it's many years ago. I was 15, 16. I remember when I played the World Junior Championships in Mexico, in Guadalajara, and I was updating from there. I think the post is still on my Facebook if we go back in time, like when I won the World Junior Championships back then. So it's crazy to think back on that and then see now how many things have happened within that space, right? As I said before, like, I remember my friends and my, from the school and stuff like that, they were a little bit, fan page for yourself, that's very, that's maybe a bit arrogant and stuff like that, but I was like, this is just to follow my journey, and yeah, it has been an amazing thing.
So did your dad tell you to do it, or you told your dad,
no,
Dad, I'm going to do it?
No, it was like I was on Facebook, I followed it a little bit, so it was something where in that space it has pretty much been me who did that. My dad has been very, very good at finding the right partners, and he's a very honest guy. He's probably where I got his, I'm also very honest here. But we're having it with the best intentions. We just don't want to say something which we don't mean. So we're very honest, and I think brands appreciate that, and I also think the fan base appreciate that. So that's what we're going to continue to do.
So obviously you have this following now on social media. Does it impact your negotiations with contracts?
My partners want to know how many followers you have here and there and there.
So that's a yes.
So yes, it is.
Yeah.
It does have an impact. Also, if you, for example, with Samsung leading up to the Olympics, I had an agreement with them. So they want to see, how is the, send them information about how is the reel going, how many people are watching.
Oh wow! So they want to know the analytics inside your post.
Every time when you post? Partners, they would like to have the analytics, and sometimes if it's like a collaborative post, they can obviously see the. But it is important for the partners to actually know.
So it has a direct impact to your contracts and to the businesses and the partners that you work with.
Some partners more than others.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the dad situation now. So obviously your wife's dad, Natalia,
yes.
PK, also works with you very closely. Is he involved in the business at all? What is his role?
Not really involved in the business. My dad takes part of the business side of things. He's more when it comes to the coaching. Now Peter Gator is part of the team as well. So they're taking care of what happens in my training plans. Obviously coaching me at tournaments and stuff like that.
Yep.
So we have that separated, and then we also have other partners. For example, for the Chinese market, there are some people who are helping us there. If there is some things which are interesting,
can you give an example, such as?
It could be an example where, for example, there's a Chinese brand who want me to do something on Douyin in China.
Okay.
Then that person maybe have a connection there. Then he connects to me, and then I connect them with my dad, and then they have a talk. How do we do this potentially and stuff like that?
Okay, perfect.
So that's how it might work.
Have you been invited on speaking tours yet? You
in Denmark, I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna do some actually like this format where on stage I'm gonna get interviewed by a guy called Morten, who is probably one of the best sport journalists we have here in Denmark, and we're gonna do like just a few places where we're gonna have something like this format. We're gonna talk on stage and talking to us, but it's probably gonna be something which I'm gonna do more when I'm retired, because I simply don't have time now.
You have more stories to tell then.
Also, and I can be even more honest. Great.
Absolutely. Well, I think this is why it's so important, like being transparent, but also the casual fan does not see the layers of the sport.
No.
And I think sometimes badminton, we struggle to sell that layers, because like say in Formula 1, you see all the drama. Drama actually gives you eyeballs. And in the current world, eyeballs gets you money.
Exactly.
Attention gets you the finance you need to actually go and finance the sport, make the sport a better place, invest in grassroots, which then gets you more players, which then gives you more content, which then actually gets you better at the very top.
Yeah, and you said grassroots there. I'm very passionate about the grassroots, because that's the future, and that's the age group where I actually think if we do what we can now and we push for the changes we want to make and the future we want to see, then they're going to benefit a lot. Together with HSBC, I'm the global ambassador there. We are also going to do some great work when it comes to the grassroots and shift the focus to there and really do some great work, which I'm very passionate about. Yonex, I know, also have a lot of focus on the grassroots as well.
Yep.
So and now being a dad myself is something which is very important to me.
Yeah. So for me, I've been lucky enough to actually watch you train earlier today with two young guys at the club. Both of them, obviously I spoke to them at the end of it, and both of them are really incredibly grateful that you wanted to train with them. They were always super pumped, super excited to say, like, every time we get a call from Viktor, Chris said, he calls me, I will come whenever, wherever, so they're both really appreciative. They both enjoy the intensity and the work rate that you show, the work ethic that you show. But more importantly, I noticed that you said hi to every single little kid in that hall, in and out. I noticed that. And I think that shows your true intention behind it, because no matter if they're 2 years old, swinging a racket around, or elite 19-year-old. Right? So,
but this sounds like a little bit of a cliche, but literally, I still remember when I was just a small kid playing in Odense, we're in Copenhagen now, but I started in Odense Badminton Club. And I remember playing with the the older people. I was just literally in the hall all the time, like the small kids who were there now, like playing around. And if there was anybody who wanted to play, I would jump in and play. And small things, even just a hi or a picture or whatever it is, it can maybe inspire someone to, go, to stay within the sport. And if they get a good impression of you as an athlete and stuff like that, maybe that will stick with them. And for me, it's a huge privilege that such small things, be it a greeting or be it a picture or a video greeting or whatever, those small gestures can have such a huge impact on people, and especially kids. And that's something which is one of the best things of being an athlete, is to be able to make somebody stay with such a small gesture, which doesn't take that much.
I mean, I remember the court next to you guys who were training. So there were 2 young kids with parents and family. The little one just literally mouth open watching you guys.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh my God. Like, hopefully I was thinking maybe one day I will become like them, like 2-time Olympic champion and elite players on the next court. But his mouth was just, he wasn't paying attention.
No.
His mouth was just like, oh my God, like I'm just watching them,
Yeah, and that's great. And that's one of the things which is nice with playing in a club like that, where there's access from, for the kids and stuff like that. It's great sometimes to be in an environment like that for them to actually see you playing. It's great inspiration for them as well.
So again, I want to move on to the business side of the clubs. So obviously here you said that there's access and stuff like that. So we go into the hall today in Skuldhead, right?
Yeah.
And it's been amazing. It's an amazing hall. What's the business model behind badminton clubs in Denmark?
Oof, that is a little bit of a complex situation, because that's run by, it's kommune in Denmark. Like, so basically the city or the part of the city there. They have the clubs there where they have the, the whole club system, be it tennis, badminton, soccer, everything is there, and it's run there within the club.
Okay.
So basically, it's not the state, but it is the part of Copenhagen. They're the city who actually support it and runs it. So it's not a private. It's not a private club.
So it's a state entity?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of sponsors. So you have a lot of, like, you go into the hall.
Yeah, still the badminton club itself is a business. Like when it comes to the actually funding the league and stuff like that, that's not state funded. But the hall itself is not owned. Yeah, the building is not owned by the actual badminton club. Yeah. So, but the whole badminton entity is like sort of, it has, a board and stuff like that.
Okay.
And they have a league, in the first league. So that's how it works. They get sponsors, then they sign the players to play the Danish league and stuff like that.
Okay. So, but it's self-sustaining.
Yes.
There's no consistent grant or government injection of money.
There is, but not for the club, not for the actual league team.
Okay.
That's sponsors. But to have the hall and the building itself, that's funded by
the government.
Yeah.
Okay. And maintained by the government as well, just making sure. Okay. So.
But they're not playing the players to play for the club.
Yeah.
That's the
sponsors and commercial side of things. Okay. So we will dive deeper into that in a future episode here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so for today, episode 1. I think initially we started with only pure equipment, but I
think we will realize in the future that we can't just. We might have a plan, and we will for sure get out. Yep. I will start talking, but you can tell me to shut up if you want.
No, but then also at the same time, it's also important for you to ask me questions next time, right? Like if you have something that's...
Actually, for me, it was very exciting to hear your view on the whole BWF business governing body side of things. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next episode to hear you talk as well. It doesn't have to be me talking. Sometimes my answers are too long, but I'm actually very excited to hear your point of view.
Yeah, So I think for me, I've been very lucky to be able to work with a wide range of organizations and bodies just within badminton itself. Across stakeholders from federational to continental to then BWF level.
Yeah.
But then also with brands like corporate partners. Like say Yonex, equipment provider. But like how working with them, because it's a global sport.
Yeah,
and global sports with different countries have different cultures, different working patterns.
Yeah, there are so many things which are obviously, and that's why it's easy to sit here and talk.
Yeah.
But the culture, the federations,
how you navigate that is a complete skill in itself.
So tough, and that's also why we have a huge work ahead of us as a sport, and also we have to also acknowledge that we are in a fortunate position where the sport have been growing, and again BWF have been doing a good job still at growing the sport. I just think that there are some changes which could, give us superpower within the sporting world.
Turbocharge that growth.
Yeah, turbocharge. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yep.
And I want to hopefully try to push that in a good way.
Yep. So obviously in the next episode, we want to discuss a little bit more about the private side of tournaments. So in 2024, there were 2 commercial tournaments that is exclusive of BWF organizations. So one is the Badminton XL, which you played in.
Yeah.
It looked incredibly fun on camera.
It was a great experience for
the
sure.
3v3 as well.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit more about that because I wasn't there for Badminton XL. And then there was also the King's Cup, which was organized by Lin Nan's management. So I was fortunate enough to be able to go there.
Yeah.
So that looked incredible. Anna's won that.
Yes.
And so we can talk a little bit more
Definitely.
about that. But the third one, which I first came across in Copenhagen again, 2023 World Championships, was UBX.
Yes.
So I would like you to talk a little bit more about UBX because are you part owner?
Yeah, I am at the moment. We're still, trying to look like how can we actually get the first edition up and running, and we can talk about more of that in the next episode. How that is a big challenge with how things are right now within the badminton world.
And then how to solve that, because I think I would like us to identify what the challenges are, what are potential solutions, what do they look like?
Yes.
And then how can we get them in place to actually kickstart these?
Yeah, because it's not only with how the things are from it's not only how it it's run right now in regards to the regulations for the players, the federations and stuff like that, but it's also more just basically the time. The calendar year is so packed with tournaments.
Very.
So that's also a big challenge. It's not because it's not possible. It's just to get the players to go there and
the right players.
The right players as well.
Yeah.
It is a huge challenge with how packed the calendar is right now and how the whole setup is at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's a great challenge as well.
Yeah. So next one, we 100% will be talking about tournament and 3 private tournaments.
Yes.
But then also the BWF current tournament structure. So
great.
Because looking forward to hearing you guys. If you guys are not subscribed, please do on all the platforms that we go.
Subscribe. We need to grow.
The buttons could be here, could be anywhere. So follow us on all the platforms, and obviously we'll be posting as much as we can. The format currently looks like it's a once every 2 weeks publishing process. We will try and get together as much as possible physically. So this week we're in Copenhagen. Hopefully next time round we'll be somewhere else. We've been lucky enough to be able to travel. We will try to be able to record together as much as we can.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very fortunate that I have good people around me, and also like you and your team, CK, you can take care of. There are so many things which goes into this, and I can just show up and talk, and that's easy for me. But still great that we have this format now where we actually can speak what we think, and I think the players and the fans will appreciate this. So thank you for watching, guys, and please subscribe and support the podcast.
And also give us comments and feedback on what you want us to discuss about as well, because that would actually really help us in telling you guys what we see, which a lot of you guys don't actually see, because I think we've been quite privileged to be able to have inside access, but also doing that process as well. I think we can clarify a few things. How does it actually go? Yeah, constructive criticism, or basically just criticism, and also praise we would like to get. So comment. Yeah, if it's crap, tell us. we will do better next time.
Definitely, we'll do our best next time then.
Okay, we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you, CK. Thank you, guys. See you.
Pleasure. Next episode.
See you.
Thank you. Or should I go? I'm CK the average, Viktor the not average, and we're here to bring you.
Yeah, we can also do that. That's okay. The non-average, and no, it's called not average.
Not average.
Try again.
Yeah. Hi everybody. The Average Non-Average podcast. I'm CK the average.
I'm Viktor. You said non-average.
Not average.
You said none now.
I'm just too quick, I guess.
Okay,
I'll say it slower. I'll say it slower. It's a hard name now, isn't it? Yeah.
It didn't record.
This one. Okay, so that's recording, right? I know that's recording.
Please double check.
Can you see like a clock running? Can you double check if a clock is running?
I can see a clock.
Okay, klar.
Can you club that out? Great. 5-minute break, then we go again, CK.
Yeah, yeah.